Well, I want to point out something about the Marlin 1894. So I originally had another Marlin, and I still got it, which is a Marlin 357, but it's a real Marlin. It's before Remington bought them out. And I heard all the horror stories back when he moved the factory from New Haven, Connecticut over to Ithaca, New York. And they were really screwed up for a few years. And then by 2013, they got them straightened out pretty much. But I don't really think so. I looked online. I saw a lot of problems with the Remington-made Marlins. And, well, I want to point out something. I got the lever out of it right now. It's feeding okay now, but I did something that nobody else did. Well, first off, this was something they recommended me to do. I don't know if you can see this right here? That edge right there? It says to radius it. In other words, make it more round. Because what happens is, when it's pointy, that hits the bottom of the carrier, and it puts a divot in the carrier after a while. If you do it when it's new, it won't do that anymore. It lasts for like many thousands of rounds before there's any kind of problem. I mean, like probably 10,000 rounds. I still had a problem though. And I had a and what was happening was, a round would jam up in here, and I'd have to take out the lever. And as soon as I got the screw out, it popped loose. So I said to myself, well, just somehow the lever's up in there too tight or something. And I don't know what exactly would be on his you'd have to adjust. But what I did was I opened up this hole. You're not supposed to do that. I opened it up like an 1/8 inch bigger. So, like the screw, this actually sits in here like wobbles, right? But when it's in here, it's all in here nice. It's in here tight. God. Well, you wiggle it in here. This is how you disassemble it to clean it anyway. You pull out the lever, the bolt comes back, you take out the extractor. That's how you clean it. I mean, one reason I got the Marlin was I'm already familiar with the Marlin. I got a 357 one, so I got the 44. Okay, so when the lever's installed in there's no like side-to-side play. There's a little bit of up and down play, but that play like that is enough where everything cycles. And once in a while, it kind of does like, well, when you're cycling full loaded rounds through, and this has got the safety block on it, so it's not a big deal doing that. I'm going to see when I fire it. Like, I think when there's empty brass, once in a while, it kind of has a little hiccup. I got to go jiggle it a couple times once in a while, but it doesn't jam up. It doesn't jam up because before it was jamming up rock solid, and I had to take the screw out to freaking get the round out of it. I was like, man, this is screwed up. Obviously, Remington has not got their crap together. They probably don't have their crap together on a lot of guns, too. I heard Remington went downhill a lot, so whatever. But on this thing, they make every single part there is to, like, slick it up and all that kind of garbage. You can get better carriers. And I modified this because I figured if I screwed this up, this piece, the lever, I'll just put the big loop on there. But I don't think and I don't really care if it's got, whatever I did, if that's not right, I drilled a bigger hole in this thing, so it's got, a little, it's got a little bit of up and down play, which is enough where nothing gets stuck in here. I don't know, it seems like it's going to work. I got to find out when I'm actually firing it, and I'm ejecting like empty brass versus full shells. But it seems to work pretty good even with the full loaded ammunition. So, 100 times better. At least I don't have to freaking take a I'll take a screwdriver with me. And actually, I got some gunsmithing screwdrivers coming. This is a gunsmithing screwdriver combination right here. That's what you got to use because they're ground different. They're like... The screwdriver doesn't come in here like a taper. It comes in here straight, so it really locks into these screws. But I'm familiar with the Marlin anyway, taking it all apart, so that's why I got this. But the Marlin I got from years ago was made by Marlin in New Haven, Connecticut. And that one works great. That's a 357, no problems. This one seems like I probably got it fixed, but what I did wasn't really right. You're not supposed to make the hole bigger in a lever, but I figured if I was taking out the lever, because this had like in other words, if I left this screw in here kind of loose, where it wasn't like screwed into the other side, I could cycle it through the action. That's because this was pulled down just a hair more. So by making that hole bigger, and I figured, well, if I screwed that part up, just put the bigger lever on it. But I don't think I did screw up anything, and I already radiused the part that hits the carrier, so the carrier shouldn't get that big divot in it. And I ordered a sling for it. The only thing I want to put on here is a sling and a leather wrap on this thing. But it might work just fine the way it is. So it seems like it's once in a while I got to do a little like this to get around in there. But then again, it's not. I'm not actually firing it and injecting empty brass. If I'm doing that, it might actually be 100% perfect. But it's not right now, but just doing that modification where I put a big, you're not supposed to do that, but that's what I did. I figured, what the hell, if I screwed this one part up, I don't really care. I just put the big loop lever on it. But it seems like it's working fine now because this needed a little more to be able to pull this down just a hair more to unlock that carrier when a round got caught in there. And I'm like, well, screw it, And I worked this action a bunch of times to try to loosen it up. It does seem to be okay now, but, we shall see when I actually test fire it. But just beware that if you get these new Marlins, maybe, you might get a good one, you might get a bad one. But I'm seeing a lot of problems with people online. Same kind of garbage. And they're sending them back to the factory, and they're not really fixing them that perfect. I'm like, that's nice. I'm not going to send it back to the factory. Screw those idiots. If they didn't make it right in the first place, I'm not going to give them another chance to freaking screw things up more. I could screw it up just as much. But, the way I got it right now, it is functioning. It's functioning. It's not jamming up lock solid tight. So that's a big plus, and we'll see what happens when I actually go to use it. But it's kind of aggravating that Remington isn't really making these exactly right still. They had a major problem in 2010 when he moved all the old equipment and all the specialized knowledge they had in Connecticut from the people that were making Marlin. Basically, they told him, "Man, you can move to New York." What do you think this is? People have been working on these rifles for 20, 30 years. Well, then they're really not back the way they were. Still not there. But, I do know how to take this rifle all apart and stuff, because like I said, I got the 357. So I'm waiting on a screwdriver set. I might take this all apart and polish it up and shit inside there and see if we get whatever. Or maybe get some aftermarket Wild West parts and stuff and throw it in here. It's still cheaper than a Henry or Pieta or something like that, or Chapel, whatever the hell these Italian ones, man. He makes some really nice ones, but this is still hundreds of dollars cheaper. And if you put the slick parts in it, it still costs you less, and then you got a really tricked out lever. But I think I got it fixed the way. If it works fine the way it is with this stupid Mickey Mouse repair I did, I don't care. As long as it works. As long as it works, I don't give a crap. So I did two things. I did that little, you can't see it in there, but that one bump that it's like a real sharp edge that hits the bottom of the carrier, and it puts a notch in the carrier. And after a while, you got to replace that carrier because it gets out of spec. If you radius that real sharp edge, and it doesn't put a notch in the carrier for many, many, many more thousands of rounds, and the carrier lasts a lot longer. So I did that. But still didn't. It was still locking up. So I opened up the hole where the screw goes in. So it doesn't have any side. You can't tell it's got play in it because this fits in here so tight It's just that it's able to move down a little bit, and that's just enough where nothing gets locked up in here. It's still not 100%, but then again, it's pretty close to 100%, but then again, feeding through fully loaded ammunition versus actually using it and ejecting an empty brass, it's a whole nother world. So it might actually be 100%. And if it freaking works, I'm leaving it the hell alone. That's all there is to it. I'm going to leave it the hell alone. But right now, it actually works. It should work pretty good. Pretty good. Not really any major problem with it. And like I said, if I broke this part by making that hole in there bigger, you can always change this out with the big loop. But just beware. These, I wouldn't tell somebody not to buy one because there's major, major advantages to Marlins. First off, they already come with the mounts for the sling. And a sling can make you a hell of a lot more accurate, believe me, because you can set up your body like a tripod with a sling. It's got the rubber buttstock on it. It's drilled for the scope mount. I'm not sure if I'm going to put a scope on it. I might. If it's really, really good gun, I will. And then really good rifle. And it's a side eject. A Henry, it's really smooth, but you got to put them in through the front of the tube. This one you could top it off, right? You could top it off from the side and inject from the side. So, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. But I mainly got a Marlin because I already had a Marlin, and I'm familiar with a Marlin, and I don't want to get familiar with something else. So they're basically they're the same exact lever action, except one's 357, that one was made by Marlin, New Haven, Connecticut. That one's really good. And this one is a 44, same model, 1894, but it's made in by Remington in New York. And obviously they still don't have all their crap together 100%, but I'm just saying, I wouldn't say not buy one, but you do beware that you might have a problem with it. And I'm a person, I will not send something back to the yo-yos. Unless something was like really, really bad, like the frame was cracked on it or something, something crazy, I would not send it back to them. Because I don't think, if they can't put it together, if there's enough people having problems in the first place, they're not, what good is their service warranty problem? What are they going to do then? That's me. I'd rather fix it myself, learn it myself, trial and error, the hell with it. I don't even give a damn. That's the way I am. That's why I don't buy no damn new cars or nothing either, because I'm really fed up with all the bull crap. And, but this might be okay now. But, it's not really the right thing to do, make this hole bigger in this lever where it's screwed in. But that's what I did. And it seems to be pretty good now. And it might be 100% good when you're actually using it and you're ejecting empty brass. But it no longer jams up any kind of, feed. There's no problem where it locks up solid where I have to take the lever out. No longer doesn't have that problem. That is that's a major problem. Once in a while, I might have to do a little like this, to get it in there, to get the round fed in there. But that's only like every 10th round that happens. Not too bad. But then, like I said, if you're actually using it and you're injecting freaking empty brass, it might not have any problem. But what I did was wrong, but it seemed to work. But just beware, and what I'll do is, like I said, if, I'll get the tricked out lever, I'll get the tricked out carrier, I'll polish up all the crap that's in the inside here. I'll change this little plunger thing from the plastic one with aluminum one. I'll change a whole bunch of crap out with some tricked out Wild West parts. And then it'll be, good to go, 110%. But if it works good the way it is right now, when I'm actually using it, I'll leave it the hell alone. But if it don't, I'm not sending it back. I'm going to do my own shit. The hell with them. Over and out.